Yeah, it won't be something you think about once the game starts. But again, you talk about a guy that you care about more than the game of football. And we have a personal relationship with his. Our wives know each other really well. Our kids know each other really well, and so he's a friend. And at the end of the day, you care about friends. But when the game starts, the game starts. It's going to be about winning, and I look forward to the opportunity.
Hang on 1 second. We're going to try to fix the audio. Kevin, we got an audio. I had a chance to talk with your brother recently.
Oh yeah,
Nicest guy.
my brother.
Your brother.
Oh Lord.
Trey is so cute.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, yeah. He is the cutest boy. Sure.
I just want to make sure. Give us a minute.
Yep. So, Timmy. Yeah, absolutely. Allison. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. All right.
2.0. Sorry. 2.0.
Yep.
We can just repeat your answer so make sure we get the answer on audio nice and good about you.
Yeah, obviously James is a dear friend of mine that goes beyond the game of football. A relationship that's been developed since we were in college, and you know, once the game starts, the game starts. You're not going to be worried about a friendship or anything like that. We both have jobs to do, but again, our families are pretty close, and we will forever be close friends regardless of what happens here in this game. Yeah. How are you?
Two things. What do you learn from defending these guys from watching the Michigan game in particular? And how do you defend Jeremiah?
You know, there's not just one thing you can do to defend Jeremiah Smith. He's one of the best receivers I've ever seen in the college football game at a young age. He's a dynamic football player. He's physically a big presence, but he can run and he can catch. And so you're going to have to do some different things to try to keep him off balance, but also keep the rhythm of the quarterback off balance. But the other part of that is we got good players too. We got to do what we do, and we're going to trust our guys to, get the job done no matter what we call defensively. I still believe strongly you have to stop the run. We got to do some things defensively to make sure we can stop the run, and we got to be really good in the red zone. That's going to be something we have to be, is really good in the red zone. And then we just got to, do some things to make the quarterback try to think and not keep him in rhythm. So it'll be a difficult challenge, but we're looking forward to it.
And were those things that you mentioned things that you saw from Michigan in particular, or just overall things? I didn't know if there was something in the Michigan game that they did that stood out.
Yeah, I think that, there's some things that happened in the Michigan game that, Michigan did really well, and Ohio State maybe didn't do so well. But what you can't do is look at another team's defense and say, this is what we're going to do. You have to do what your team currently does really well. And that's the nature of the game. Any coach that tells you they just followed somebody else's plan, it's probably not going to be that successful. We got to make sure that we can take some ideas from what other teams have done to have success, but really implement them based off how they fit within our system.
What was the Notre Dame presence like where you grew up? Obviously, there's a lot of big cat machines out there. And have you noticed it's increased in Ohio?
Notre Dame has always been a national brand. I can't tell you how many, I don't know how many Notre Dame fans I knew growing up in Dayton, Ohio. There's probably a lot at some of the private Catholic schools. And I don't know if it's grown. I'm not back in Ohio. I live in South Bend, Indiana. So the Notre Dame fans, the Notre Dame network is national. It's worldwide. But I don't know if it's grown in Ohio or not. Downs, yeah. He's dynamic. We recruited Caleb before he went to Alabama, and I've followed him just because he's a great young person, has a great family, and he's never out of position. That's the thing about Caleb. Like, he's never out of position. He plays the game under control, and he's a really good tackler, but he sees the game in a way that puts himself in positions to always make the play that he has to. And so, man, he plays big, right? Physically, he might not be the biggest, but he plays the game big, and you got to know where he's at all times.
We're here from Channel 7 in Dayton, Ohio. I'm curious, when you think about the kid from Wayne High School sitting here at the national championship game as a head coach, what goes through your mind?
You know what? I've been blessed to have a lot of great mentors and a lot of great people around me to help me grow. And I think about my time growing up in Huber Heights, Ohio, and the many coaches and mentors and teachers that all had a part of me developing my foundation as a person. And my parents, obviously, my brother, and then as I went to college and so forth. But Dayton, Ohio is always going to be a special place to me. Obviously, my parents still live there, but the foundation of who I am as a person was developed in Huber Heights. So there's a lot of people that get thank yous for putting me in the situation I'm in now.
When we're talking to Coach Herbstreit and a lot of our viewers, they're torn. They love Ohio State, and you're the hometown kid. For fans in Dayton, Ohio, they don't know who to cheer for this weekend. Can you help them out a little bit?
Listen, I got a job to do to make sure this group is ready. You cheer for us, or you don't. It is what it is. No hard feelings, but my focus on making sure this team is ready to perform on Monday. And for all those that are cheering for us, we appreciate it. Yeah, we've been working Charles Jagasol at the left tackle, but also played some guard. We have an idea of what we're going to do starting on Monday, but, it's something I think we could wait till Monday to just say this is exactly what we're going to do. But he's been playing a lot of left tackle and playing some guard too. He's been great. RJ doesn't speak a lot, but he works his tail off, and at the biggest moments, he's shown up. And he's a big reason why we're in this position. And he's been doing a great job for our defense, making big plays. You look at the play he made versus Georgia. We're going to need him to play big versus Ohio State to have success. Yeah. Yeah, he's progressing exactly the way we thought, in the right way. He practiced yesterday, pretty much the majority of the practice. The first time he's really done that in the last couple of days. And so as long as there's no setbacks, he's progressing in a way that we think he'll be able to go full go on Monday. Yep. Yeah, well, we've often said the best recruiting we can do is keep winning. That's the reality of it, right? This is going to be the best recruiting we can do because lights are on our program, and that's great for parents and high school recruits to see. But we also have a great recruiting department. Chad Bowden, who is our general manager, and his department has been on the road in high schools, getting transcripts, talking to coaches, and figuring out the character of high school prospects. So we're not sitting back and not being on the road recruiting. We're just having other people in our program do it. We have two females, which I think it's great to put the spotlight on. Zaire Turner, who is she's on the road recruiting, and Rebecca Seitz. So two women that are in our recruiting department are actually on the road recruiting in high schools. And I think that's amazing because, one, they do a great job at the roles, but two, you're not going to see many women recruiting in high schools and scouting and doing those things. So I think it's great for the growth of recruiting departments, but the growth of women in football. Penn State might have been a breakout moment for outsiders to see, but that's Jaden Greathouse. Every day he's been in our program. I've often talked about playing the wide receiver position is one of the most unselfish things you can do, because you can do everything right, you can be perfect, and not get the production to coincide with what you do and running your routes. But we make sure to point out how well you do on that play, no matter if you get the ball or not, or no matter if you get the individual praise or not. And so he's done that for a while in our program. He just had the production to go with it versus Penn State. His recruiting, it was you had to fight to get him out of Austin, Texas, and he was a kid that after a couple times of visiting our campus, he said, "This is the place I want to be," and he stood strong. And he had a lot of people pulling at him, even after he got to Notre Dame, But he is a great kid, and we're grateful to have him in our program. I think he is. He's elite at making good decisions. He's got a good arm, and he can extend plays with his legs, and he takes care of the football. Those are traits that any great quarterback possess, and this moment isn't too big for him. So we know he'll be ready to go on Monday, and he presents a huge challenge. In the what quarter? Yeah, the first quarter is important in every game. And, it's how you start, how you win the middleweight, how you finish. Like, every play is important. And having a good first quarter is a result of winning that play. And so we often talk about, people say, "Oh, you guys doing good in the middleweight." Well, you just got to win that play. You got to finish. How do you finish? Well, you got to win that play. And so we don't spend a lot of time saying you got to start fast. Well, yeah, everybody knows that. You got to win that first play, and then guess what? After that first play is over, you got to win a second play. So we don't try to think about an outcome. We don't think about the future. You think about this play. And if you do that enough and you do it well, you're going to start fast. You're going to win the middleweight, and you're going to finish. As far as some speech, there's no speech that I'm going to give that these guys understand what's at stake, and they understood what was at stake at the Orange Bowl. And maybe it was at halftime was me to remind them, do not play scared. I just felt like in that first half we weren't playing with the aggressiveness that we usually play with. Now, Penn State did a really good job on both sides of the ball, but I wanted them to go out there with the mindset, listen, we're gonna attack, we're gonna be aggressive, this is what we do. We've been in this position before. And it's funny because you're often tested with little tests before you get a big test. And versus USC, we were tied at half. And that was the first time we had been tied or down since we lost to Northern Illinois. And that was the first test to see, okay, how do we respond being tied at half? And then you're down 7 versus Penn State. That was the next test. And so we shown that, hey, we couldn't handle it versus Northern Illinois being down. USC, we responded well to being tied, and then we were down again against Penn State. And so there's a belief in our guys now that they know the different tests that are going to occur throughout the season that you have to pass in order to be in a situation that we're in now.
Do you really think you're going to escape without a question about the NFL? What is your
Heather, you know how busy we've been on preparing for this opportunity. Here's the reality is that with team success comes individual recognition. And, you know, to hear that the Bears have interest, it's humbling. It's the NFL, but it's also a reminder of with team success comes individual success. And so I have put zero thought into coaching in the NFL. All my attention has just been on getting this team prepared for every opportunity you have in front of us. So probably not the answer you're looking for, but that's the answer you're going to get.
Coach Freeman, you've often referred to Riley Leonard as a fighter. The second half of the season, you guys have been on this winning streak. Was there a moment between you two where not only did the trust increase, but you realized he was willing to do it?
Yeah, there's not one moment. That's just who Riley Leonard is. He's a guy that in the most crucial moments wants the ball in his hand, and he wants to make a play, and most of the time he does. And so that's how he was raised. He's a competitor, you know, and getting a chance to talk to him and getting to know his story a little bit, you realize he's raised that way. And he's a competitor, and he's going to find a way to will us into winning.
Let's go back in time. 2006, you were an Ohio State player. You beat Notre Dame, reached the final, and then you lost as a favorite. What lessons did you take from that year going into this year's game on Monday? Where you guys are underdogs. What motivation do you guys need as an underdog to beat Ohio State?
There's zero motivation that is necessary to prepare for a national championship game. I was a kid. I was a young person. You know, that I can't go back and remember what was going through my mind, but we were playing for the national championship. And I was a part of a team, and I just wanted to do my job, and we got beat. And, you know, when I think about college, and I think about the relationships, I think about the great players I had the fortune to play with. But at the end of the day, you know, the maturity level of who I am today versus who I was back in college in 2005 or 6, it's completely different. You see things from a different perspective. And so that was in, this is now, you know, there is nothing that I can use probably from that game that's going to really resonate with this team. This team has to make sure we focus on preparation these last 48 hours. And, you know, when the game starts, we got to do what we've done all year, but probably do it better than we ever have.
When is the last time that you talked to Jim Tressel? He told me he's coming. He's looking forward to it. Just what advice has he given you about this game?
I've talked to him recently. I didn't know he was coming to the game, but you know, we don't talk about things like that. We just talk about probably some. You know, I'm able to ask him questions, and he give me his opinion, and that's probably what's most important. Somebody that I hold very high, somebody that has experience in games like this, somebody that can give you a perspective from a previous head coach in terms of how you performed last game. And so we talk often, but I know it's a unique situation for him, being that he is a part of Ohio State, but also a part of my life. And so I wouldn't put him in a position that he has to choose. But he's been great for me all season long, and so I'm excited for him to be here. Yeah, I think more than anything, each team has a plan to do what they do well, right? And again, we know we got to be able to run the ball and we got to be able to stop the run, or it's going to be a long day on Monday. And so that's the reality of when you talk about playing in this game, you have to do what you do well and do the things that have given your program a chance to be in a situation. So that's what we're going to do. And you have to be able to make adjustments. If your plan going into the game isn't having success, then you're insane not to make adjustments to try to give your program a better chance to succeed. And so this game will be about, hey, who has the best plan going in, but how you make adjustments in terms of having success on offense and being able to stop them defensively. Yeah, it's two different teams. You're talking about 2 years ago, their team and our team was a lot different than this year. I mean, it's a lot different than last year's team, and it's going to be a lot different than this year's team. I've told the team all week, this isn't about the past. This isn't about where I went to school. This isn't about the 2 previous games. This is about the opportunity right in front of us. And that's what you got to understand. Where this program is now and who we have, it's about putting these guys in a position to have success and do what they do well. And same thing with Ohio State. Their team this year and what they're doing right now is different than the team we played last year and 2 years ago. So the focus is on having a plan to have success offensively and defensively versus the opponent we're playing on Monday and really not focusing on the pass. Coach Mickens is a tremendous asset to our program, the ability to identify talent, to recruit the talent, to develop the talent. I mean, he's been a heck of a coach. He's done a lot of great things for this program, but even our time at Cincinnati together. He's a heck of a football coach. As far as where we grew up, like, I think everybody has a piece of who they are because of the way they were raised. And our 4 years at Wayne High School has a big impact on who we are as men today. And so it's a special place. It's a special place to me. There's special people there. There's teachers there. There's administration. There's coaches there that all have an impact on who I am as an individual. And so I'll always be a Wayne Warrior. Yeah, he's been playing left tackle in practice, a little bit of guard, and so, we'll make the final decision by Monday, but I mean, it's going in a direction we all kind of see, but he's been getting more reps at left tackle than he is at guard. Take that as you want. Oh, yeah. Again, he was a guy that we made a joke. I was sitting in my office with his parents after he had surgery, like, hey, you're going to make it back for the playoffs, ha-ha. And all of a sudden, he did. And we continued on this run to a point where he could actually help this team. Now, he was a backup going into the Orange Bowl. I mean, he was a backup. And then Knapp goes down, and then Rocco Spindler goes down. And, I mean, he was huge to be able to fill in at that right guard position. And he did a great job, as well as did Tosh. And, as we go into this week, now you had to make the decision what's best versus this defensive line that we're facing. But it's been great to see a guy that started the bowl game last year as our left tackle, came in with all the expectations to be our starting left tackle, tears his pec in fall camp, and then make it back for some of the most meaningful games of the season. It's amazing. Yeah, Drake did a really good job at recruiting some other players, high school recruits, and often tell our biggest recruits like Drake was, great players want to play with great players. So if you want to play with some great players, get on the phone and start recruiting them. And so he's done a great job. You know, he's a vocal leader even now, the same way he was in recruiting. So he's a big piece of that recruiting class that he was a part of. And life this season, but life includes pain and adversity. Life includes unpredictable things that you don't expect to happen. Your ability to handle the unpredictable things in life is what's going to determine your success. And so there's some unpredictable things that have happened in our season. There's unpredictable things that happen in a game. The ability to handle them, but also get better from them, right? Nobody thought we were going to lose in Northern Illinois. We lost. Okay? How do we handle that loss, right, and continue to move forward? But how do we learn from that loss? And I think those are all important things as you look at a football team, a football season, but also life, is that unpredictable things are going to happen. You got to be able to pick up the pieces and move forward, but also you got to be able to learn from those difficult moments. They make the choice. They make the choice every day to put the team in front of themselves. And it's not something that you can take for granted, because every day you got to make that choice. Thank you. Shout out to Julio Rodriguez. That's my guy. He cuts the hair of a lot of our players, and he takes care of me. And so that's who gets the credit for that. Yeah. Thank you.